President Trump was given a fresh reason today to call for the end of the special counsel's investigation. The Republican-led House Intel Committee released its final report today that found no evidence of conspiracy or collusion between Russia and the Trump team. Well, the president just tweeted at the top of the hour, the House Intelligence Committee rules that there was no collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. As I've been saying all along, it is all a big hoax by the Democrats based on payments and lies. There should never have been a special counsel appointed. Witch hunt. But Democrats just can't let go.
I think it's just a gloss on a very political report, a document that could have been written by the White House.
To close the investigation and write such an inaccurate, incomplete, and irresponsibly premature report does nothing to protect us.
This complete partisan whitewash by the Republicans on the Intelligence Committee just shows more so why we need an honest report.
In many ways, it was a kind of kindergarten investigation.
Joining me now for reaction is Republican Congressman Sean Duffy in Wisconsin and radio talk show host Leslie Marshall in L.A. Great to see both of you. Congressman Duffy, the president was all over this tonight. I mean, he's tweeting about it. He said basically it's time to end this Russian investigation. Jeff Sessions said as much this week as well. But you're the Democrats, like you guys are just, it's all political. There's no serious examination of these issues, and they're not letting this go.
So for the Democrats, Laura, maybe we could cue Jack Nicholson from A Few Good Men, and he could say, you can't handle the truth. Democrats will never absorb the truth that there was no Russia collusion. I mean, to take a step back down memory lane, Dianne Feinstein, the Democrat senator from California, who is the head of the Democrats for the Senate Intelligence Committee, and both James Clapper, who worked for Barack Obama for his National Intelligence Committee, both have said they've seen no evidence of collusion. What this is about is very simple. Democrats don't look for the truth. This is all about politics. If you don't have the Russia narrative and the Russia collusion story, you might have to talk about Korea and what happened today. You might have to talk about Donald Trump crushing ISIS. You might have to talk about GDP growth and job growth and wage growth and a secure border and the fact that we're energy independent. Democrats can't talk about those things, and that's why they have to stick on this narrative of Russia collusion. Otherwise, they can't run on anything this coming November election. So this is about politics, not truth.
Leslie.
Oh, Congressman, with all due respect, we can multitask, we Democrats. But no, this is political and it is partisan, because when you look at this committee, it's not the bipartisan committee that has said, OK, no collusion. It is the Republicans. There's still a Senate committee, and we still have an independent counsel by Robert Mueller. And I say Democrats and Republicans back off and let the guy do his job. If, in fact, there is no collusion, we need to find that out. This committee has not interviewed the people that Mueller has interviewed. This committee has not looked into all the documentation that the independent counsel has before him. So this does not give an exoneration to the president at all. This is some Republicans saying, hey, based on what we looked into, and they didn't look into everything, we don't feel there's an issue here. One more thing.
How about Dianne Feinstein, Leslie? How about James Clapper? This investigation would never stop for Democrats. I mean, no matter how much evidence comes out, no matter how clear it is that Donald Trump won by the force of his ideas and the force of his personality, and he outworked Hillary Clinton, that's why he won. Democrats can't handle that. When will you accept it? How much evidence do you need? How much information do you need to show that Donald Trump had a hard time colluding with Republicans, let alone trying to collude with Russians? I mean, when do you accept it?
Well, let me jump in here for a second, guys, because... Yeah, Leslie, I think one thing that Congressman Duffy mentioned was this interesting tidbit that I guess now has been confirmed, that former Dianne Feinstein staffer Daniel Jones in the 2016 campaign was the person responsible for getting that Fusion GPS Christopher Steele dossier going, which is interesting because obviously Feinstein is an important Senate figure herself, but it just reinforces this idea that this was a political hit job from the beginning. It was Oppo research pushed through this Christopher Steele, who later got, was disassociated from the FBI for leaking information to the media. That was an interesting tidbit. Democrats kind of brushed that off early on, but it was now confirmed.
I don't have a problem with the confirmation of this because of the timeline. He was working for the senator in 2015, and that's when he left. He worked with her prior to that. And then it was after the election that he, with his organization and money from private donors, tried to hire Mr. Steele and Fusion GPS. I don't have a problem with that because of the timeline there. What was his motive? I mean, clearly it was political. Do we see any corroboration? Anything in writing from Mr. Steele? We don't. We have emails and conversations that Mr. Steele told me this, etc. But I don't have a problem due to the timeline.
Yeah, well, Congressman, go ahead.
Of course she does it, but they raised $50 million from 10 donors from New York and California to drive the narrative of the Russia collusion story and the phony dossier. I thought Democrats were opposed to dirty money and dark money in politics. They're only opposed to it if it helps Republicans, but if it helps them, they love dark money. As Leslie just said, I mean, this was $50 million to promote this story from big donors.
All right, guys, fantastic conversation. Thanks to both of you tonight.